Okay. Good morning to attendees who are joining us for our second session on the second and final day of the Solution Summit. We are going to get started with a team from Schneider Electric shortly. We're just going to give attendees a little bit of time to come in. If you are watching this from the lobby, just a reminder, and I know I've said this earlier, if you would like to participate in the chat or ask any questions, please make sure that you officially join the session so that we can have some interaction going on. This is a fairly long presentation for 30 minutes, which is great because it's going to be filled with so much valuable information. Feel free to chat with both the speakers while they are off screen today. We will try to answer as many questions as we can through chat. But I would like to remind all attendees to head on over to the booth that Schneider Electric has. You can ask questions, download resources, watch videos. The team has provided many resources for everybody joining us today. And I know we're going to have some more people come in, but I think you've heard enough from me, and I know you're here to listen to Amol and Marissa. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
All right. Thank you very much, Jessica. And good morning to everybody. My name is Amol Bagatkar, and I'm the Director of Medium Voltage Product Management for North America at Schneider Electric. Feel free to check out my bio on LinkedIn. I'm extremely honored to be here and incredibly thrilled as SureSeT is being recognized for its innovation in sustainability. Thank you, E&E Leader, and congratulations to all the award winners at this year's summit. Today, I'm joined by Marissa Ainsworth, and she has been an outstanding partner in this innovation journey. Marissa?
Thanks, Amal. Thanks, everyone, for having me today. So as Amal shared, I lead our sustainability and decarbonization strategy for our NAM hub as well. And so I'll just talk a little bit about our sustainability initiatives at Schneider, just to kick us off today. All right. So Schneider Electric is an impact company, and in order to drive that impact, Schneider has set the ambition to be net zero by 2050. And so this will be a massive effort to reduce our overall emissions across our value chain. And in order to get there, Schneider set a series of different milestones. So first, starting as carbon neutral by 2025, having a 25% absolute reduction in 2030, and then having a carbon neutrality across all of our value chain by 2040. So this is pretty incredible. And all of our measurements will be measured through science-based targets as a third-party entity. And then really, what are we measuring are the different types of scopes. And so I'll just talk about those briefly. So we think about scope 1, 2, and 3. And so briefly, scope 3 upstream is what does it take to produce all of our different products and all of our different systems. So that is working closely with our suppliers, but then all of the different components that are needed to make the product itself and get to the customer site. Scope 1 and 2, these are what it takes to run our operation. So what does it take to run Schneider Electric? And then scope 3 downstream is what are the emissions produced over the life of the product? And then while that is at the customer site, and then the end of life of that product as well. So just briefly to think about that, your scope 3 upstream are going to be much smaller because it's just about the creation of the product. Your scope 3 downstream are going to be much larger because that's over the life of the product as a whole. And then lastly, at Schneider, we also have an initiative about saving and avoiding emissions. And so this is where our teams are designing more efficient products to offer to our customers so they have choices in the market to be able to save or avoid emissions from even occurring. So we'll talk a little bit more now about some of the programs that I'm leading at Schneider. So to drive towards that net zero commitment, we focused on 3 areas. So decarbonization is 1, circularity is 2, and then lastly is digitization as our 3rd. And so when we think about decarbonization, it's focused on these 3 areas here of eco-design. So again, how can we design our products differently to produce less emissions? How can we use different materials? How can the product operate differently? And overall improving their efficiency. We also think about our packaging and the materials that are used with our products and how we can use more sustainable materials. And then lastly, it's crucial to have that data accurate. And so we have a large focus on making sure we have clear and accurate environmental data. Circularity, we're looking to change our operations from a linear operation to produce our products into a circular. And so what that means is extending our product life, finding opportunities to reuse or refurbish our products, and also great opportunities for recycling and reducing overall scrap. And lastly, for digitization, this is where we integrate all of the environmental data into the customer's journey, into that customer's experience, so that they're able to make decisions about their selection of their product from the environmental data that we have. Next layer will integrate AI. And then lastly is delivering an overall green architecture. And we do all of this with our partners and distributors alike as well. So that's a brief summary on our net zero focus. And so what I want to do today now is to talk about one of our products that have launched recently, a tongue twister there. And so that's really committed to sustainability. And so SureSeT and EvoPact are examples of really driving sustainability into the design. So Amal, for those who aren't familiar yet, would you be able to share a little bit more about how you integrated sustainability into SureSeT and EvoPact?
Absolutely, Marissa. So let's talk about what SureSeT and EvoPact are, right? So SureSeT and EvoPact are Schneider Electric's new medium voltage switchgear and circuit breakers that are used to distribute and protect power up to 15,000 volts and 2,000 amps in many different applications, such as data centers, industrial buildings or manufacturing facilities, airports, train stations, ports, semiconductor manufacturing, wastewater facilities, and so much more, right? So they're mostly used by large businesses and governments. So when we first began development of SureSeT, sustainability was at the top of our minds. Now, all businesses and government operations and decisions are bound by strong economic forces. These economic forces actually drive our customers to be efficient with their capital investment and their operational cost. So we always challenge ourselves to think how we can use these strong economic forces as the tailwind to drive sustainable changes for the planet, right? So with the goal of sustainability, we are able to engineer an offer that is smaller, smarter, and stronger than the traditional medium voltage equipment, right? So smarter. SureSeT's embedded digital sensors and connectivity increase its operational efficiency while reducing risks and costs. Smaller. SureSeT's compact design reduced the size by 25%, increasing its usability, and it can fit in tighter spaces, but also decrease the carbon footprint of materials, transportation, and the building. A stronger. SureSeT is built with a long-lasting, durable design for endurance that is up to 3 times the industry standards and enables maintenance cycles up to 5 times longer than the traditional maintenance cycles, right? And it's designed to be more upgradable and serviceable in the field than the traditional equipment, which reduces the chance of scrapping in the field for replacement. Let me show you a short video that we created to tell you more about SureSeT and EvoPact. Just as a notice, it can get a little bit louder on your side, so watch your sound levels there. That video playing on your end, not playing on my end.
I'm not able to see the video on my end.
Ah, okay.
Let me try one more time. One. I could hear the music though.
Interesting. Do the same thing? Ah, okay. Well, we got some technical challenge. All right. So we can go, I'll try one more time and see if it works, or else I'll talk through it. Do the same thing on my end. Okay. All right, no worries. Let's talk about the 3 value proposition, right? we said SureSeT is smarter, smaller, and stronger. So we'll talk about the smartness first. Yeah. So what really makes SureSeT the most innovative switchgear on the market is the embedded digital sensors at the circuit breaker level. So traditionally, users and facility operators had no way to get real-time information about the health or condition of their circuit breakers, which is the most critical component in the equipment, right? This now, with the this could lead to unexpected power outages and require operators to interact with the equipment more regularly for maintenance, a potentially hazardous situation when we are dealing with 15,000 volts. Now, with SureSeT and its natively digital design, facility managers can now easily access information from a remote device or through the cloud. And by switching from time-based maintenance to condition-based maintenance, they can reduce the maintenance effort by up to 60%. And that too, while reducing the safety risk to their operators.
Wow, that's great that we've focused on safety so much and able to help secure the safety of our customers. Can you talk a little bit more of how you've integrated sustainability into this solution as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, the information gives us the power to make sustainable changes, right? So when we are switching from time-based maintenance to condition-based maintenance, our users can reduce travel and have remote access to key information about the vital components, right? And with the information provided by the sensors, they can replace the wearing parts as needed while still ensuring the integrity of their equipment. Plus, when our equipment is integrated into our EcoStruxure platform or external platforms for connected systems, users can also analyze the energy consumption, and that empowers them to reduce their energy use, right? We have also made our breakers easily upgradable in the field, which means customers can add digital capabilities as their needs grow, reducing the cost of improvement as well as the waste by not requiring them to replace these breakers entirely in the field. Additionally, this digitization of the environmental data enables its integration into the green architectures that Marisa talked about earlier. Yeah. So the second way we have made SureSeT more sustainable is by making it compact. The small footprint equates to 25% savings. That makes it more advantageous to our customers since it fits more easily into the electrical rooms where power density has been increasing rapidly these days, right? And that also means less carbon emissions from production and packaging materials and during transportation due to reduced weight and the number of truckloads. Additionally, when this equipment gets installed in buildings such as an e-house that you're seeing on the screen, the e-house itself can be made much smaller, further reducing the cost and carbon emissions from the materials used to build the e-house, its transportation, and the civil work that goes with it to support it. Now, what makes it much more impactful is that shorter current path reduce the carbon emissions from power losses over the lifetime of the equipment. And a smaller building or e-house needs significantly less power and therefore carbon emissions for air conditioning over the lifetime of the installation, which tends to be over 30 years. We also tested EvoPack circuit breaker to endurance that is 3 times the industry standards, ensuring a longer lifespan and that it can stand up to the most challenging applications. And we designed our breakers to be easily serviceable and upgradable in the field to eliminate need to replace the whole breakers and reduce waste.
This is great, Amal. And it looks like you've approached everything from a variety of angles. So let's put it all together. So we've got smarter, smaller, and stronger. Can you remind us again of what are those big pieces there?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so to bring it all together, SureSeT is smarter, smaller, and stronger than traditional medium voltage equipment. And that makes it much more sustainable, right? We talked about how we reduce materials, we reduce size, we reduce heat loss, and tested it for a longer lifespan. And with that natively digital features, we enable our users to be more sustainable in their day-to-day operations. This is operational efficiency as well as the power consumption for their operations. Now, finally, to ensure carbon footprint transparency, we have worked with an external agency to certify our carbon impact claims and data, and have published this data in product environmental profiles on our web pages. One of the first medium voltage manufacturers to take such steps in North America. Now, after seeing this outcome, I can say what is sustainable for the planet is also efficient for the economy. And the most important thing, it's available to order now so our customers can take advantage of these benefits. To learn more about SureSeT and EvoPact, scan the QR code on the screen here, or visit our Schneider Electric homepage and look for SureSeT under products. And be sure to download the product environmental profile to learn more about how we have taken this data and presented it in a way that is intuitive and can be used for calculations in reduction of CO2 footprint of our customers' installations. We're also posting these links in the chat. The video that we could not play earlier, we could not see. We can also post those links. The video is also available on YouTube, so we can post those links as well in the chat, so you can take a look at that. Okay. Now, SureSeT and EvoPact are just two examples of how we are innovating at Schneider Electric for sustainability. So Marisa, can you tell us a little bit more about what else are we doing at Schneider Electric in this sustainability journey?
Absolutely. Thanks, Amal. So what folks can get here with the QR code is to learn more about some of the environmental profiles that we've put together for SureSeT, and that exists for all of our products as well. And so with the link we'll put into the chat, we'll share more about Schneider's overall net zero commitment. And so this spans from the work that are being done on sourcing different materials to our different packaging materials to be used as well, and then gets into the design work of how our products are designed. And again, this isn't just in our division, this is across all of Schneider's portfolio. And so it shares some of the work that we're doing here. We would invite all of you to join us at our exhibit hall where we can answer any more questions on SureSeT and EvoPact as a whole, or on our sustainability commitments. But I do see we have two questions that have come into the chat. So Amal, want me to start with some of those?
Sure, absolutely. Okay.
Perfect. So the first one I see is a sustainability question, so I'll take it and give you a moment for the second one here. So the question talks about what measures are being taken to reduce upstream and downstream carbon emissions in the design and operation of switchgear. So just to summarize a couple of those pieces, when we think about upstream, we think about what are the different types of materials that we're using. And so we also want to ensure that we deliver the same level of quality and safety in those materials. So our teams are testing different types of materials that are more efficient, but ensuring they give that same level of quality for our customers as well. So starting with materials, then looking into our packaging, again, to ensure that the quality is still being able to be upheld. And actually sustainability is helping to improve some of the quality pieces as well. So that gets into a lot of our upstream efforts as well. Just like Amal mentioned, a lot of the team are looking to reduce the overall physical size of the product. And so that shows a reduction in how many materials are needed and how much of that material is needed as well. So a lot of the design is looking to improve the overall size and to optimize for what's needed. So that's on the upstream side. And then on the downstream side, a lot of the work is being done from a design perspective on the use and the longevity of the product as a whole. And again, Amal shared a great example there of where they're able to strengthen and make the system that much stronger to last and have more durability. So there's a lot of tests being done on durability and extending the overall product life from the design, from the start to last longer. The other piece that we're working to extend the design is being able to reuse or remanufacture or refurbish products as well. So perhaps when you use a product, there may be a component or a part that has come to end of life, but the greater solution, there's still many parts that still have a lot of life left to give. So we're able to remanufacture and refurbish, and again, certify and test that the product operates at the same quality to then put back into market. So we're not having to create a whole new product from the start. Those are just a couple of those examples. And again, we can share more in the exhibit hall. Another question talks about testing and certification process to ensure the longevity and reliability of medium voltage switchgear. Amal, do you want to start on that, and I can supplement as well?
Absolutely. So the question is about how do we test and what standards we use, etc.
Yes.
Okay, great. So this circuit breaker is tested per the ANSI or IEEE standards. Now, medium voltage equipment is considered very critical equipment. The safety and reliability of these applications are extremely high. And so the expectations are very high there. And so IEEE and ANSI have published several different standards for the circuit breakers, for equipment, how they should be designed, how they should be tested. And then we also use a third-party certification body. So UL, and UL is also participating in this summit. So UL is one of the largest agency that actually make sure they witness the test that we perform and make sure that it performs to these standards and the right expectation levels, right? And so these breakers are UL certified. The performance that we're claiming and rating, they're all tested per the standards and witnessed by UL.
Excellent. I've got two more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next question is about, do we have any case studies available to view related to this product?
So we are absolutely working on this. This is product under launch. We have done a few assessments. We haven't published the case studies yet, but that's a great question and great suggestion for us to continue working on. When we look at the sustainability aspect of it, for example, I use the eHouse application. This is the one that we are actively studying now to be able to create a case study to show exactly in one specific applications, at least, how the footprint and the digitization and the robustness can actually help improve the sustainability. Now, for the environmental data, we have done the calculations, we have done the assessment, and you can see that on the product environmental profile. We took specific configurations, for example, the incoming main breakers, the feeder breakers, and the cubicles. And so those are some of the most commonly used modules when we build a full switchgear lineup or equipment lineup. And so we have used those building blocks to assess their material composition and then their carbon footprint, and then publish that on the product environmental profile.
Excellent, excellent. And so there's one question I'll come back to, but this connects to another question that's come in as well. So the case study piece that Amal is developing with his team, we are working on that across our other products as well to really show and tell the story of how the impact for the sustainability has impact across all of our initiatives. So the question is, what other initiatives is Schneider working on related to products like this one? And so my initial thought is just to share, we can share some of the different pieces in the booth of some of the other eco-design efforts and some of the initiatives we're looking at for those products as well. The other question here is, do we have a comprehensive brochure or spec sheet available on the website or in our booth?
Yes, absolutely. So on the booth side, you will get some contact information and some starter documents. But if you visit Schneider Electric website and look for products under the medium voltage or the grid area, then on the product webpage under the documents tab, you'll see the brochure. We are just about to publish a catalog, and then you'll also see the user guides, the instruction manuals, and the product environmental profile.
Very good. And I've got one more question. This, I think, is an opinion for you, Amal, but I'm sure you have a thought of why that's your opinion. So the question is, what is the perfect size in your opinion?
That's an interesting question that goes into many different discussions. And while developing this product and equipment, we actually look through the entire value chain and who are all the users and what value do they get and what value do they add throughout this process of building this product, to designing the power system for a customer, to designing or architecting the site location or the building for the customer applications, to the contractors who actually get involved in installation and commissioning or installation of the power terminations, etc. People who get involved in the maintenance cycle and services. And we actually invited them throughout this development process to see and watch how they would perform different operations, right? And so it's always a tricky question. Too small can sometimes get very difficult for maintenance and installation purposes. Too big can have a lifetime impact on the materials and size of the building and so on. So we tried on both sides, and really the optimized size, right? Now that also depends on the power rating. So we looked at what's the most commonly used power rating, because we can make it even smaller, but then the power rating can go further down, and then its usability and application can go down, right? So it's a sweet spot that we have found. So this one is 26-inch wide. The traditional equipment is about 36-inch wide. Now that's one cubicle, but as application grows, more and more cubicles get stacked. So in short, to me, there's no perfect answer. It's the right balance. It's the optimization and what we are solving for. That's the important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's one more question in regards to sustainability. And so it's talking about how Schneider able to effectively use models within the industry to refine Schneider's overall sustainability program. I can take a stab at this one. And so this is really using different industry partnerships. So Amal talked about our partnership that we're working with UL and their standardization on the different programs they're driving and the methodology that they use for sustainability. The second is also science-based targets, and that's where we talked about our net zero commitment and really leveraging the methodology that science-based targets used on how emissions are calculated and measured. This allows us to be consistent and also to be accurate in the emissions amounts as well. There's a much longer answer I'd be glad to talk about at the booth on that, but that is our big piece, is working with those third-party agencies. And I think I have got all of the different questions. We've answered all the different questions. If there's any that I've missed, I don't know if Jessica, if you see any that I've missed, but this was a great end of our session to have some great discussion. So thank you everyone for submitting your questions.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't see any specific questions that have come in other than that. And I again, the first two sessions of the day have brought such thought-provoking topics to the board. So we do have a couple more minutes. I'd love to get, just maybe one or two takeaways from each of you for our audience to leave with.
Marissa, you want to start?
Sure. And well, I guess just for me to clarify, takeaways from the session today or takeaways from sustainability, a sustainable future?
I think sustainable future would be a fantastic way. Yep.
Okay. So I think the big thing for me is that sustainability isn't an isolated effort, that we work closely across those big three that I talked about of decarbonization, circularity, and digitization. And the next I'll add also is quality, with an asterisk for safety as well, so that it's a matter of integrating sustainability into improving the quality and safety for our customers, and doing that through decarbonization and circularity and digitization. So the takeaway for me is that sustainability is not something separate or extra. It's really integrated into the overall business and into the business value for our customers.
Fantastic. And Amal, I'm going to give you the floor before I wrap it up.
Absolutely. So, for me, I see that there are many initiatives across the world that are currently developing and unfolding to improve sustainability of the offers and products and services and everything that we do. What we learned early on is if we are asking for everybody to invest more and spend more and significantly more to drive the sustainable future, then that becomes a slower journey. And so what we learned through this journey here is, again, focusing on how can we use the economic forces to find those as tailwinds for driving that transformation. I think that's key. And so I encourage the audience here and everybody to really think about everything that we do. How can we find more and more of those win-win situations where it's economical for the business as well as it's sustainable for the planet?
Absolutely.
Perfectly summed up. Well, thank you to the team at Schneider for all of the work that you put into the presentation today. Congratulations again on your award win. And as Amal and Marissa both mentioned, hop on over to the exhibit hall. You can visit them in their booth, download resources, look at videos. Apologies for the technical issues with the video, but it's a good thing that we have multiple ways to share resources in today's world. So attendees, don't forget, we are going to kick off our third session of the day in just about 10 minutes. So join me back here as I sit down with Jerry Cantor from Ameresco. So have a wonderful day, and thank you everyone for joining.
Wonderful. Thanks for having us.
Thank you all.
Thanks.